think another thing, a question that we get, we can just talk about questions that we get a lot. How is it working together as husband and wife?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that so pros and cons.
You see, I laugh and you're just straight face.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if that is an indication of anything. What is it like working together as husband and wife? There's definitely pros and cons. Let's talk about the cons first. One con is I don't want to talk about the cons first because I feel like the pros outweigh the cons. But one con is um, sometimes it makes it difficult to turn off, right? Because we're husband and wife.
I think that's really with you though. I know how to turn off. You don't know how to turn off.
Yeah, that's true. Like for example, though, if we didn't work together, I would talk to you about my work. So it's like, and I think that's one thing. And I don't know if it would be a different dynamic if I was the doctor and you were, the management admin person. But for me as a man, the number one thing that I think about and talk about is my work. Like that's what's going on my mind most of the time. That's what's very interesting to me. And I'm very blessed that I get a chance to do the kind of work that I enjoy. So it never gets like, oh, I hate this job, I hate this work. It's like, for me, it's like this fantastic puzzle that you get to tinker with and work on all the time, and it's never done. And you can always improve it. And when you improve it, you get a chance to improve the jobs of the people that work with you. You get a chance to improve the care of the patients that you serve, and you get a chance to improve from a financial standpoint. So that's exciting and fun for me. What is your perspective on the cons or some of the cons? And then we'll get into the pros.
I think the biggest con is, well, I feel like I turn off when I get home. And it's not because I don't enjoy, but after I've been talking to 30, 40 patients all day, I'm kind of talked
Hmm.
out. And when I get home, I don't want to. It's not that because you're constantly thinking about it. I kind of just want to like go to my happy
Hmm.
place. Going home is like I open the door and I'm like, yeah, you
Yeah.
know. And that's when you haven't seen me all day because you're in a different part. So you like, da, 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 da. When we used to live away from each other when I first moved up here, you remember there was a certain time you would call me and I wouldn't pick up the
Right.
phone. Like it was always like between 5 and 7. Like
That was the decompressed time.
that was the decompression. So I think I feel like I don't get as much decompression from the
Hmm.
business. Um, and I think sometimes too, the other con is really only two. The other con is when we need to make changes and implement something and one of us disagrees, which usually is, I don't think we both agree on everything all the time. Most of the time there's a disagreement. One person doesn't agree, or there's a lot of hesitation or caution, I guess I would say. And it's like having to like not argue, but present your case. I feel like it's always presenting your case. Sort of like we're the two board members, but we're also husband and
But that would
wife.
be the case if you were partnered with another derm and you guys were partners.
Yeah, but it's different when it's your husband. And I think sometimes too is separating the husband and wife. A lot of times I think me and you have learned to start off the conversation and say, I am talking to you like my business partner, not my wife. So then it lets me
Yeah.
know. And I'm like, I'm talking to like my husband and not my business partner. So I think over time we've learned, and we still work on it, to put different hats on and let the other person know. Because then if not, it feels like you're attacked. Sometimes when we are arguing or having disagreements about what needs to be implemented, um, it can feel like you're in the lion's den, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and I think this also too, this is more of a personal thing in regards to how do you like I don't look at conflict as a bad thing. And actually
Yeah, you don't mind. You like to go to
but actually
conflict.
nothing good happens without conflict. Like you can't, in my personal opinion, you can't build a high performing team without conflict. And if you and I thought exactly alike and there was no conflict, one of us is not needed. So you are the more cautious person. You are the more wait and see person. I am the more go, 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 let's try it. And oftentimes I'm wrong and you're wrong. The right answer is somewhere in between. but your approach levels out my approach, and my approach levels out your approach, and that gets into the pros. I think that that is one of the pros, is like working together as husband and wife. Whether we agree or disagree, you know that I am not trying to trick you. You know that I
Mm-hmm.
don't
I
have
mean,
an
that level of trust is
yeah, I don't
there.
have some
Yeah.
ulterior motive where I'm trying to get you to make a decision that's going to be good for me and not good for everybody. Like the trust factor, and they talk about this. It's a book that called Speed of Trust, where if you have trust, you can make decisions quicker than other people. One advantage to our small practice is we can change and make adjustments very quickly because we
Mm-hmm.
trust each other, and we're small enough to where we can turn the ship in a different direction. You know, we made the decision to add these new insurance networks like 2 months ago, and here we are. Day one, we're already advertising it. We'll be seeing those patients, in the next in the next 30 days. And so if it was a big huge hospital or a big huge medical group, that may be a year decision
Mm-hmm.
from the start of the decision to actually implementing it. So, it's a ton of um, huge pros. Another pro is we both get to operate in our area of excellence. I know nothing about medicine. Science is not my thing. Never been good at it. Never really had an excitement or passion for it. But, with my athletic background and my business background and my entrepreneurial background, I love people. I've never been talked out in my life where
You've talked me out.
I'm exhausted and I don't want to, like, if it's something interesting, I can, I can go dive deep into it. So the area where you may not necessarily have an interest or may not necessarily be the strongest, I'm strong. Areas where I'm not as strong, you're strong, and we can kind of work things out like that. So I love it. As a matter of fact, you know as well as I do, as we even think about potentially doing other businesses or whatever we may do in the future, I automatically think of, I already know who my business partner is. It's you. So whatever we do,
Wow.
I already got my business partner. All I got that situation already set up on who I'm going to be doing it with, and then the question is just, okay, what are we doing? You know, and when you can have
Mm-hmm.
that baseline level of trust, and also the um, the complementing strengths and weaknesses, I think it puts us in a very, I think it puts us in a very good place.
And I think also to one of the pros to it is it forces you to work things out. Like if I'm mad at you at home, I can't come to work and be mad at you. You know what I mean? Like I kind of have to like, okay, I guess I got to talk to
Right,
him.
right,
And then through that over time, then I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not mad
right,
anymore. Or if I'm mad at you at work, maybe that can go into home. But I usually can't take being mad at you at home and bring it into work because it just affects
right.
everything. But overall, I think it's a great experience. Would you recommend it, or you think it takes a certain type of personality
I
to
feel
do
like
it,
it.
to work with your
I feel like
spouse?
it's not for everybody. But I think it works for us in our personality. Like, we're the kind of people that we live intertwined lives in a lot of ways, and we're okay with that. Some people, they feel better living kind of separate lives, and then they, reconnect at
Mm-hmm.
home at night. And this person is going this way, and this person is going that way, and they don't have their, own separate world. And we have our own separate world in a way, but our own separate world is smaller, I would say, than most other people's own separate world, other husband and wives, just because of how we work together business wise, how we parent. You're my best friend. You know what I mean? Like it's certain things that it may not necessarily work for other people the same way. So I don't necessarily recommend it for
Yeah.
everybody. But if you can do it, I feel like it's a competitive advantage that we have. Looking at
Yeah.
other other practices in our local area, just because the people who are running it are, you know, we're one flesh. You know what I mean? Like we are on the same page, even if we don't necessarily agree on everything. When we do,
Which we
when we
don't
make a
sometimes.
decision,
Yeah.
though, we're in it. The
Yeah.
commitment question is never there. the
Yeah, the trust is never there. It's kind of like when we were thinking about starting. I'm like you said, who's gonna start? I kind of was like, I need help. I need you. You're the only person that I trust, and I know you won't let me fall. You
and
know,
I think
and
that's another important point that you just made. My level of motivation, I joke around with people all the time that my wife is my boss. So I have an extra level of motivation. Like I have a chip on my shoulder to make sure that I'm making you proud, that I'm doing things that my
we two are.
boss and my wife, like I'm not just like, ooh, let me impress my boss. But when your boss is your wife, it's like
That sounds
it adds a
intense.
certain level of motivation for me. It adds a certain level of passion for me. And that's the reason why I am obsessed about it. And I personally believe that no matter what business there is, there has to be somebody who is obsessed all the time. And that works right into my personality because I am not the most I wasn't the A+ student, but one thing that I can do is I can laser on something and obsess about it for a long time, all day, every day and night, day and night, day and night. I think that God said, "Oh, I'm not going to give him all of those, high IQ points, but I'll give him this strength over here where he can be obsessed about something." So,
Love, you're pretty
oh,
smart, so stop
I
acting
mean,
crazy.
what I'm saying is, I
You're
couldn't have been a doctor.
you could
No,
have
I
if you
couldn't have.
wanted.
Couldn't have passed none of those tests. I couldn't have passed none of those tests. The 7, 8 tests, however many tests you get, the tests to get into med school, and then the step 1 and the step 2 and the step
Yeah,
3
you
and the
might be
boards and
right.
I,
But you like numbers, you like the economics and the
absolutely.
marketing and the business. And I couldn't have passed an account. I suffered through accounting. Thank God you do that in the bookkeeping and all these numbers and zeros. My little ADHD, dyslexia, whatever it is I have that I don't know yet, it would not let me. My economics class was one of the worst classes I ever took. Having to do projects on case studies on different businesses. So it's kind of like my weaknesses is your strength and your, weakness is whatever. See, sayings. That's another thing. You know how to say those. I don't know how to say those.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the DermBiz Show. We hope you found today's discussion insightful and packed with value to help you navigate the challenges of running your private practice. We'd love to hear from you. Is there a specific topic you'd like us to cover or a question you want answered? Reach out to us at thedermbiz@gmail.com or drop us a message on social media. Your input helps us tailor the show to what matters most to you and your practice. Speaking of social media, don't forget to follow us on all of our platforms for updates, bonus content, and tips to keep your practice running smoothly. And of course, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in today, and we can't wait to have you join us again the next time. Until then, take care, keep thriving, and we'll see you the next time on the DermBiz Show.